Hello, everybody, and for the first time in what feels like a century, and probably is a century, welcome to the ESO Squadcast. I'm your host, FyTe, and these are my guests.
Hi guys, I'm Danny's Beard.
I'm Debbie Mushroom.
Yeah, that's right, only two guests and no Jax, so you know today's gonna be fun. Okay, so our topics for today. Let's think here. By think, I mean I already have them pulled up because I plan in ahead. God, this is already a shit show. Okay, so from the legend himself, Danny Beard, we have Parthenax tells, what the fuck? Parthenax tells is that...
Do you want me to introduce that?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because you sent it to me weird.
Yeah, my bad. I
No,
just sort of
fine.
wrote that out quick.
It's
Right.
absolutely fine.
So what's always been strange to me is that Parthenax tells us through the main quest that he knew Alduin, would re-emerge at the time we were on the top of the throat of the world, and he's been sat there waiting for millennia for him to come back because he knew where he'd come back, just not when. We obviously know Alduin comes back, he emerges at some point, comes down, tries to kill us, and everything goes on from there. But what we never find out from Parthenax is what actually went down between him and Alduin, his big brother, this guy he's been waiting for millennia, when he actually came back. Where did he, what went down between them? What did they say? Why does Parthenax never tell us what they talk about?
That's terrific. I actually very much, I think it's a very good one. So let's talk about it. So, would you like to go first? You seem to have a great wealth of knowledge on this subject.
Well, we can speculate as much as we like, but I mean, one of the first things I can think about is that when players play the game, they tend to take the assumption that Alduin emerged from the time wound while you're basically having your head rested on the block, and flies down and tries to kill you, but it doesn't really make much sense. The first thing that occurred to me basically is where Alduin is coming from. When you got your head on the block, you're looking east, and Alduin actually flies up from the south, sort of from Cyrodiil behind the mountains. He doesn't come from the throat of the world, so it looks like he's actually been there for a little while. So it's not like he's just popped out the time wound, completely blanked his old brother Parthenax that he's not seen for centuries, flies down and just kills a bunch of villagers. It looks like he's been here for at least a little while. So I'm just wondering what people think basically about what went down, what they spoke about basically. One of my theories is that Parthenax has been filling in Alduin on the events of the world, especially the recent events, and who those people are down in Helgen, and who the big players are basically in the human world, because Alduin's not an imbecile, as we know. Is quite smart, even for a dragon. And for him to pop out of the time wound, and there's the big theory that he thinks he's still in the Dragon War. I think that's baloney, because he's a smart dragon. He knows he's been cast into the time wound. I think he knows exactly what the Nords did to him way back when. And he's been flying along the currents of time and appears right back to where he's banished. The first thing I think he's going to want to do is gather information, and his old brother Parthenax is right there with a wealth of it. Sat right there. I want the first thing that makes me do is question his loyalty.
I agree. I love Parthenax to death. He's a great guy. Or he seems to be. Because all he does for the player is he just helps you. And but definitely when you start to think about it and you remember that Alduin did pop right back out of the time wound, that he did just come from the Dragon War, or has been meditating on this for millennia. He's gonna be
just like his brother.
He's gonna be mad, first of all. Secondly, he's gonna want information. His little brother, yeah, he's right there. So I think that, first of all, on Alduin's side, Alduin's not gonna be too brash though. I mean, he is too brash here, but he's not going to be, so brash that he doesn't know what to do. He just kind of like strokes it and attacks.
Yeah.
I definitely think he meditated on it. And I also think that Parthenax definitely helped him Because Parthenax was his.
So it's
like,
quite methodological. Sorry.
Yeah, he is, and also Parthenax was like what his general, I think it was. So I couldn't see Parthenax just flipping sides. I think that he is definitely still with Alduin.
Yeah, there's definitely some sort of connection there between them. I mean, whether he truly has, become one with the Greybeards and truly believes in the way of the voice, or not. I mean, he claims that he's put aside violence for the greater good, but as we all know, if you side with the Blades and you choose to go and kill him, he doesn't just stand there and take it like a good soldier. He tries to kill you back. So, he's obviously not put violence down, or the Dragonborn manages to re-enable this violence that he has supposedly locked away all this time. So he certainly hasn't completely transformed, I don't think.
Yeah. What about you? What about you, Derpy? What do you think?
Well, I mean, as Beard said, Parthenax's loyalty is questionable. Blades did it straight off. I'm not quite sure if the Greybeards truly trust Parthenax as well. They seem to, but he's a dragon, and they must have heard about what happened in the Dragon War and how Parthenax was working under Alduin for quite a long time. So there must be that niggling doubt. Like, is he likely to go back if Alduin would return? As we know, he did. And while Parthenax did fight alongside you, when you doing the quest Fallen? Yeah.
Yes, he does help you out.
Yeah. It's still but he's still pretty useless, which always made me thought, is he doing this just to put up an act?
That's an interesting point. He's probably at the point where he's realised the power of the Dragonborn, and the Dragonborn's already beat him in the physical world. And, well, he's trying to beat him in the physical world. He's seen how powerful the Dragonborn have become. Perhaps he thinks that actually the Dragonborn could succeed. And if Parthenax was to side with Alduin, that the Dragonborn, once killing Alduin, is then going to go and turn on Parthenax for betraying him.
Definitely, yeah.
Parthenax trying to cover his own back.
Parthenax seems like a survivor, but I do wanna argue with something you said about the Greybeards. I think that's absolutely wrong. I think that they trust Parthenax wholeheartedly, because when you hear them talking about it, they're like, yeah, we should just let the world burn. They basically say that, if you remember that. I think that they, if anything, blindly trust Parthenax and the Way of the Voice. Because the Way of the Voice is like, it's a scholarly thing to be a part of. So they wouldn't change their mind on something if they wouldn't. They trust Parthenax wholeheartedly.
Yeah, but it's but with all their studies, they must have at least had the thought at least once or twice.
Yeah, they must.
Well,
have at least
they never invite him into the house.
No, don't think it'd fit.
It's a pretty big house.
What, the High Hrothgar?
Yeah. There's that little tower he could perch on out back.
Yeah, I don't want to live in High Hrothgar, alright? It'd be a great place to live. Why doesn't
I suppose he tells us that they like mountains, and he's been waiting there all this time. So they may have offered for him to live closer, but he denied them.
Well, he also does like his privacy. That's
very true.
Inherent. And I am totally a person who loves their privacy, but you gotta say that's real suspicious.
It is, and it doesn't seem like they ever venture from the monastery to go and check on him either.
Well, I think that they do. It's just very occasionally.
They do say themselves that they've only seen Parthenax once or twice.
And I've only seen him a handful of times, or at least the talking boy. I can't remember his name. Who's the main?
Angir.
Angir.
Angir, yeah. It's been so long since I've done that quest line, but he's only talked to, you know, Spartanex a handful of times, and I really think that he himself doesn't even really know Parthenax well enough to be able to say definitively whether he is good or bad. And he himself, I believe, recognizes that and thinks that Parthenax just kind of is correct. Even if his intentions aren't good, he's correct because he taught them the way of the voice. He taught them how to use their Thum. And he saved... In the end, he did save the Nords from Alduin.
But what I found quite interesting is Parthenax mentions that the Dragonborn is born with the soul of a dragon. So he has the inherent trait to want to dominate. And as we know, Skyrim is quite ambiguous with your moral choices. It's easy to go for an evil playthrough.
Yeah.
So what's to stop Parthenax just turning evil like the Dragonborn can?
Well, Parthenax, I would like to say that domination isn't really evil. In the Elder Scrolls, it is often shown as this very evil thing with the dragons and with Molech Bal, which are both awful things, but you also have better, more correct dominators, like, for instance, the Imperials. If you didn't see our last podcast, shameless plug, I am an Imperial. I totally agree with them, for the most part, obviously, not 100%. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, because the Stormbeards, that shit would never work out. They're just gonna die.
They don't have any.
Only Stormcloak in this then.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are, Mush. Sorry.
I mean, you're the only Stormcloak. I'm the only American. Welcome to the club. The club of ones. Yeah, you see, it's the club of ones.
Yeah.
So, important, things to think about though are that Parthenax does dominate. He dominates the Greybeards. He controls the way they live.
A difference between, obviously, Parthenax and the Dragonborn is that Parthenax has spent millennia studying the way of the voice and meditating. The Dragonborn hasn't. Obviously, he has this inherent tendency to violence. He has this inherent dominance, but he has supposedly spent millennia fighting against this. The Dragonborn hasn't. That's why the Dragonborn can turn on a whim and become evil, can join the Dark Brotherhood, can go and just kill people on a whim. It's possible because they haven't meditated. The Dragonborn just popped into the world. They can be whoever they want to be. Alduin, Parthenax, has apparently spent so long meditating to work against this violent nature inside of him.
Yeah.
But we do get to see a Dragonborn that has meditated for millennia. With Dragonborn Dilsyn, he's like the opposite of Parthenax. He wants to dominate. He wants to take control of Solstheim, and he's also spent millennium meditating on his actions.
Yes, but he's not meditating on the way of the voice. He's meditated in the realm of Hermaeus Mora.
And Hermaeus Mora is inherently someone who just wants power.
I wouldn't want to meditate around Hermaeus Mora.
I wouldn't want to meditate around Hermaeus Mora. Dude, Mora, what do you mean Mora is apparently a dick? He is a dick.
He's inherently a dick.
Oh, okay. I thought you said apparently. I was like, that's wrong. He's 100%. But I think that we've talked the shit out of that one. And
Indeed.
So we have another really great one from me. This is my first topic, I think, in the entirety of the podcast. And that is, who is more powerful? The Hero of Kvatch or the Legend 27 himself, the Dragonborn? Anyone care to speak on it first?
Well, I'll just come out and say that the Hero of Kvatch had the benefit of the athletic skill. The Dragonborn unfortunately had that removed from him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's not just athletic skill. The Hero Kovac could jump for miles because of the athletic skill, not the athletic, the acrobatic.
The Dragonborn could ride a dragon.
Yeah.
You don't need to jump when you can ride a dragon.
That was
But
so great.
if we go just by base game, then you can't.
Base game, he can ride a dragon. He summons Odoving.
It don't
Yeah,
matter. The Dragonborn DLC is lore.
True.
Well, the
It's all
Dragonborn DLC. Here's well, I thought it wasn't. I thought it. It's canon, but it's. I didn't think it was canon that the Dragonborn did it.
Now we'll get into a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk about that someday. But right now we're talking about who would win in a fist fight. You know, not really fist fight. Close range combat. Now, I think that the answer to this is it's unanswerable. If we're talking about the base Hero of Kovac and the base Dragonborn, it's unanswerable because there's so many different ways to bat. There are infinite possibilities that could happen because the Dragonborn could be a two-handed user, because all we know about the Dragonborn is he's a Nord, and all we know about the Hero of Kovac is that he's
an Imperial.
Yeah, he's an Imperial. So really, we have nothing we can really attribute to either one except for their accomplishments. And if we're going off their accomplishments, hands down, the Hero of Kovac is leagues ahead of the Dragonborn.
I suppose the Hero of Kovac's version of taking out a dragon is closing an Oblivion Gate. And personally, I think closing the Oblivion Gate is a far larger achievement.
That's not.
Don't get me wrong.
You know, we mentioned this in I think every podcast. The Hero of Kovac is Sheogorath. He becomes a god.
Hang on. What happened to base Hero of Kovac?
Well, yeah. But
but
the Shivering Isles are confirmed as 100% canon, while as the Dragonborn DLC, it's just we don't know. You know.
I will admit I haven't yet got around to playing Oblivion, but from what I've heard, isn't the Hero of Kovac the only one that goes into the Oblivion Gates and shut them down?
No, it's not.
There are plenty of
He
people
teaches the Bruma Guard to do it.
Yeah, there are plenty of people who do it. He teaches the Bruma Guards to do it, but really he's the only person who does it on his own. Because
the only dragon, the time that the last Dragonborn actually takes out a dragon is when they go searching for them, because they go when they went to go fight Alduin, he had help from the Ancient Tongues, and the Hero Kovac was the main one to go into the Oblivion Gate to shut him down.
The final Oblivion Gate, I think, did he have the Bruma Guard with him, or was he alone on that?
The Bruma Guard were with him outside the gate. They were there mainly to defend the Emperor, to defend Martin.
Yeah.
You went into the Great Gate alone.
Yeah. So really, what had happened was. Now you don't have anything to do with the death of, or well, I guess the stalling of Mehrunes Dagon. But you know who does? Martin. Martin's just God, okay? So we can't even attribute the killing of Mehrunes Dagon, which would be an equal level. It would be not even equal level. That would be infinitely more difficult than defeating, Alduin. So if the Hero of Kovac had done that, yeah, hands down Hero of Kovac. But since he didn't, we cannot contribute that feat to him.
What we can do is look at the minimum routes taken to complete the main quest in both games. So look at the minimum number of Oblivion Gates to close, for example, in Oblivion, the minimum number of dragons to kill in Skyrim, and various other minimum factors. When you consider you don't need to close every Oblivion gate. You don't need to kill every dragon. You just need to kill a few dragons, close a few gates, and you can get through it, provided you're fast enough and got the skills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, only one dragon you actually have to kill in in Skyrim. That's the Western Watchtower.
There's also the one with the knife in the dark, where you go with Delphine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is.
California.
And then there's Alduin. But for Oblivion, I believe you have to take out. How many was it? It's been a while. For me.
Well, there's the Kvatch gate.
Yeah, there's that big boy gate. Then there's
the Kvatch gate, the Great Gate.
That's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah, but you also have to factor in the fact that if you factor in the random encounters, there are 52 possible gates, I believe, that can get opened.
Yeah, I think there's 100 in total, or 99, or something similar like that, and only half of them can potentially open in any one game. A maximum half of them. And then obviously your Kvatch gate always opens, your Great Gate at Bruma always opens. And there's the other gate at Bruma that always opens as well, as part of the quest, where you actually show the guards how to close it.
Oh yeah. So the Hero Kvatch does 3. So that's if we attribute closing a gate to killing a dragon, and the Great Gate to killing Alduin, right now they're pretty much equal.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Sorry guys, just kidding. There is a lot more if we start going to DLC, which it looks like we're gonna have to break out. So, if we include DLC, you can't even say that the Dragonborn could stand a chance.
No, because even if
the Hero of Kvatch isn't Sheogorath, he fucking kills Jiggalag, who, if you don't know who he defeats Jiggalag. If you don't know who Jiggalag is, he is the strongest Daedric Prince. Absolutely, hands down, nothing is stronger than him.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bush.
Hero of Kvatch is Sheogorath, which basically, I mean, if we brought the Dragonborn to the Shivering Isles, it's the case of Sheogorath just needs to blow his nose and there goes the Dragonborn. But even if we brought them both to Tamriel, where Sheogorath's power would be lessened, not massively so, but lessened, the Dragonborn still doesn't have a chance. Yeah, they might be able to call a few dragons, but it's just a case of Sheogorath has to look at them and they die.
Or he could have fun with the Wabbajack, or Sheogorath's paralysis staff, which has been added into Creation Club. I actually really like the Creation Club mods. Don't witch hunt me. I like them. I wish that they were free, but I like that they are canon, I believe. So that's why I like them.
I think you need to look at each one individually to see which are canon and which aren't. I'm not sure they all are.
I don't think the Dwarven Mudcrab is, and if it is, oh my god, I love it. But actually, I haven't even done that yet. I haven't even done the main quest line. I'm doing Dawnguard.
Dawnguard is the great quest line.
Yeah, but I definitely, think that the Hero of Kvatch would win if we include DLC. But if we don't, absolutely not. The Dragonborn would win.
I mean,
just because it's a matter of the Cyclone Shout can literally pick someone up and throw them, and then call Storm causes everyone but the Dragonborn to get struck by lightning.
No, it's just a case of you use unrelenting force and you stab him through the chest.
Yeah. You see, it's like absolutely not. The Hero of Kvatch would die. So we have two rulings. If we include DLC, Hero of Kvatch. If we do not, it would be the Dragonborn. And we're not even gonna get into the Morrowind guy because I didn't play Morrowind. So
strangely, your conclusion regarding the Dragonborn being stronger there without DLC is almost identical to how Ulfric actually killed the High King.
Yeah.
Shouted him down, stabbed him through the chest.
Yeah, definitely.
Ironically, the Dragonborn isn't so far-fetched from Ulfric, but that's another story.
I mean,
Well-
mine often shouts things people down and stab them through a chest.
Yeah, I mean, also the whole entire waiting time between shouts isn't a thing. I don't think it's canon. I think that he can shout as many times as he wants.
It's just a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, it's just a gameplay mechanic. So if he wants to spam Foos or Dot, he can. His voice is just gonna get tired. Like,
I mean, it's like
Get a rather sore throat.
yeah, he'll have a sore throat.
what was it? If you decide to be a dick to the Greybeards, they're constantly spamming shouts at you.
Yeah.
Mirak does the same, and so does Ebony Warriors. Just you that has the cooldowns. Kind of annoying, but still.
Yeah, and that's why you do the Talos necklace glitch, which I love to death. So good. But
I'm not actually got around to using any of the glitches yet.
yeah, no, it's actually really cool. It definitely is like one of those things that if you're speedrunning Skyrim, you go and do that, so then you can get around the map quicker, but also so you can kill things almost instantly. Because you can just spam summon Odaving, or you can summon Odaving and Durnavir. If you were to do that.
You just spam Solitaire and it deals 300 damage per usage.
Well, you would have to, of course, summon Durnavir first.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost fell off my chair.
Stop
Again.
doing that.
I'm sorry. Okay, actually, for anyone watching, I did fall out of my chair laughing before we started recording. But that was Seven Fangs' fault. That absolute savage. But so Mushroom, I heard you had an idea, or you had a topic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about the Great Wall, because we hear it mentioned quite a lot during Skyrim, because we have all this issue with the Falmor being part of the
I think we actually talked about this in the last one, in our last podcast.
Yeah, and all the conflict in Skyrim can basically be redirected to the Great Wall.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, but the details we don't get.
Yeah.
The Mark Arthur incident also played a part, but that was also partly related to the Great War itself.
Yeah, because of the fucking Forsworn. Thanks, Forsworn.
Just the lack of detail we get for it.
I think that definitely, for instance, it's not really needed. The details that we do get are enough for us to be able to piece together enough about the Stormcloaks and the Imperials to say how each conflict will affect the world. So, or whichever winner will. So, like, if you go while you're doing the embassy quests, when you go to the embassy and you
Diplomat community.
Yeah, you grab the dossiers. There's one on Ulfric, and it is a gem.
It is. It's a nice read.
It is absolutely beautiful to read because it says Ulfric is a Thalmor spy.
He's an uncooperative asset. Let me just translate that.
Yeah, basically, if they needed to, they could probably convince him to help them.
Well, they screwed with his brain, didn't they, back during the war?
Oh yeah, but they also
the other way around.
They help equip the fucking group, the Stormcloaks. I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do help the Stormcloaks, but only enough to where the Stormcloaks can stay on their feet.
No, it's when you get to that quest and you read that the only reason the Falmor were there at the start of the game was to try and prevent Ulfric's execution, which Alden doesn't by himself.
Yeah.
Yes, if you, there's actually some game files that were left out, but there's some mods that actually bring them back in. And when you're actually entering Helgen on the carriage, you can hear the emissary, I've forgotten her name, Elenwen, arguing with Tullius, telling Tullius that they have control over the prisoners and that they should actually be under the Thalmor control, and that Tullius has no right to execute them. Tullius just then shouts her down and tells her to bugger off, basically.
Yeah. And I feel like Elenwen, she is a good enough mage to have slaughtered the entire Imperial Legion presence at Helgen. So
she's more of a dictator, I think, than a
all
field soldier.
All Thalmor are grand mages, you know, like they're just great.
There's a difference between being a great mage and destroying an entire
Well,
army.
I mean, no. I just said the Imperial presence at Helgen. So there's only there's only a few foot soldiers there.
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
that wouldn't be too difficult for a skilled mage.
Right.
Know?
Yeah, but then she's gonna have some issues when she gets back to the embassy and finds the rest of the Imperial army stood outside waiting for her.
Yeah.
Well, you know, how are they supposed to know? For all they know, they could have just been killed by Ulfric and the Stormcloaks. You know what I'm saying?
The Stormcloaks don't really do magic.
Well, for the most part.
How do you explain all the burnt bodies and charred remains?
Hey, you don't have to. Because the Imperials wouldn't know. Well, yes, they would. Wouldn't they? They would know that Ulfric was being taken there. Shit.
Yeah, it's taken them a few days to get from Darkwater Crossing.
Shit, you know what? I don't know
get
what
to
would
Helgen.
happen. You know.
If I were Tullius, I'd be sending at least one of my men back to Solitude to give them a message.
Well, also it's like. Well,
I mean,
no shit that they had to tell people, or else how would the Thalmor be there? You know what I'm saying? So it's like someone's gonna know that Ulfric was captured. They talk about it, don't they?
I think it's most likely that the Thalmor knew that the Imperials were actually going to ambush them in the first place. They were probably already around since the ambush.
Yeah. So
what?
Yeah, you can go ahead and speak.
You just remember this. As you go through Helgen, there is that one Imperial that actually uses magic, and if you were to target him, it does say Imperial Mage, which means they're more likely going to be more than one, because the Imperials have tactical enough to remember to bring more than one. So how you was saying about anyone could probably single-handedly destroy what was that was it at Helgen?
Yeah,
she
the
might
Imperial
actually have more difficulty than you'd expect, because there's probably at least a dozen Imperial battle mages there, which might actually give us some issues.
I think canon-wise, there's a lot more battle mages in the Imperial Legion than what we see in the game. I think they left them out more of a mistake, or they couldn't be asked to put them in. There are definitely battle mages in the Imperial Legion. There would have been a good few at Helgen, but that's not to say that the 2 or 3 Thalmor mages there couldn't have overpowered them anyway.
Yeah, Thalmor mages are notoriously good at magic.
Yeah, but the squad of bat mages could have just kept them busy for long enough for someone to get behind them, and while they're distracted, stab in the back.
I don't think that would happen, because the Mastered Lightning spell. Yeah, the giant laser beam lightning shot thing. Yeah, that could
Storm.
Yeah, that could easily kill all of the Imperials that were right in front of it.
I think we're talking from a canon perspective, though. that spell's largely irrelevant, and what we're basically looking at is some highly experienced mages that are probably 150, 200 years old by this point, because of course High Elves live to 300 at best, against an army of mostly Imperials and Nords. So I think it's quite possible they could certainly overpower the garrison there, but Elowen is largely a woman of diplomacy. She, as far as I know, never actually engages in any sort of combat. I mean, I've never tried to engage in combat. I'm not that brave, but she is a woman of diplomacy. That's her whole position in Skyrim. And if she was to, while she's actually there, order any sort of attack, I've got a feeling that's going to end badly for her back in Alinor, or certainly with the Imperial Legion.
I mean, I have found randomly walking through Skyrim after leaving Helgen. Well, it wasn't me, but my brother, who was playing at the time, found Elenwen walking back to the embassy, and he decided to attack Elenwen because I told him who she was, and I was quite surprised when Elenwen didn't actually use magic to fight back, just use a dagger.
Yeah, I think that sort of highlights my point. They didn't implement any sort of magic in her AI because she was never really meant to use any. She's a woman of diplomacy, and obviously the fact that he found her on the way back from Helgen's, that wasn't meant to happen in the game. She basically would have, as far as the game's concerned, teleported back. As far as little cannon's concerned, she just took a different route to the Dragonborn to get back.
Yeah. I think that honestly, if you look at the Thalmor, right, and it's the Great War, they won, but we don't know how much they won by, really. And the reason why we don't know this is because in all records, in our real world too, the winner writes history. The loser never gets to write history. They never say what happened from their perspective. No, it's the winner who does. So, for all we know, they could have won by the skin of their teeth.
There's a book in the game. I'm just quickly trying to find it, but I can't find it off the top of my head. That's actually written by, I think, an Imperial legate, who's still alive and has basically written a book, his own account of the Great War.
Isn't it just called the Great War?
No, it's got a longer title, I think. Something sort of account on the Great War.
I think so.
Maybe called the Great War, but this is actually an account of the Great War by somebody who was in it. And I believe in that book it does say that the Thalmor were also pretty weak. It wasn't just the Empire that got weak by that point. It was basically they both needed to take a respite. They both needed to take that Concordat. Obviously, the Thalmor still had the Empire, at the end of a sword. So if you're going to say either one won, then definitely the Thalmor, the Aldmeri Dominion, won that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Thalmor were pretty weak. The Empire had still taken them down a good few notches.
I think that if a second Great War happens, definitely the Empire would win as long as they beat Stormcloaks. But we also have to think about it this way. There's a lot more lore to look at for if we were to even try and think of any sort of outcome for a second Great War, and even for the First Great War. We don't know enough to determine anything, really.
Well, there is a game which focuses around the First Great War with Elder Scrolls Legends.
It focuses
and
around the what? The Great War?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't played it.
Which is that?
Oh yeah, I've just found the book as well. It is called The Great War.
Yeah, because the Elder Scrolls Legends main storyline revolved around the forgotten hero, which who took the place of Titus Mead during the Battle of the Red Ring, which we also hear in Skyrim that the Emperor himself took part in it.
Ah, yes, I heard about that. It wasn't actually the Emperor, was it? As far as speculation goes, it was this unforgotten hero.
Yeah.
And it's like because at the end of it, the person who was in charge of the farmer, Lord Narafin, and was hung from the White God Tower.
Yes,
And
that's true.
somehow killed life for 33 days.
Wait, what? That's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair enough after what the Thalmor did to his population.
It's
Absolutely.
I mean, it's when you realise that the forgotten hero would learn about something called the culling, which is a prophecy that Narafin was going to bring it back to wipe out all men from Tamriel by sacrificing the population of the Imperial City, which I'm guessing that the forgotten hero would have told just Mead about if he'd been the true to his emperor type of person.
Mm-hmm. Shit.
Interesting. Well, prophecies obviously play quite a large part in a few of the storylines, so that's not at all surprising.
Yeah, and I do believe that the prophecies do turn out to be wrong a few times in the Elder Scrolls. Like they are prevented.
Not always. I mean, we kicked Alduin's butt pretty damn hard.
Well, no. I mean, like a few times. Like a few times there are times when prophecies are avoided.
Yeah.
So we just have to hope that next game we'll still be able to select Imperials.
Yeah, I mean, everything that's happened since Skyrim and including Skyrim, we're not going to get any real canon confirmation until the Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
And that's not going to be for a while. So, I think...
No, unfortunately not.
I think that we're going to have to end this one here. And so,
unfortunately so.
Yeah, if you guys enjoyed, go ahead and like, subscribe, check out my channel. Check out, I don't know if you guys have YouTube channels.
I don't.
Yeah, a Final Entity.
Final Entity. Check out Final Entity. Go check out mine. Mine is attached to my channel. There's this channel. Check out the other episodes with Jax in them, who's, by the way, my co-host. He wasn't able to make it today. And I hope you guys have enjoyed today, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye, guys. Thanks for watching.
See ya.